Paltrocast. Good afternoon to you as well, not the morning.
Yeah, afternoon for sure.
Right on. Well, how's your day going aside from doing press?
Good. I actually just got back into town on Sunday night. I've kind of been on a tour schedule where I come home for like 3 days, Monday through Wednesday, and then I leave again Thursday. So
Right.
just trying to get it all done.
Yeah, that's something I want to dig into. I saw a social media post of yours where you talked about how this year you've done over 100 gigs already, and you're less tired than you were from doing 50 gigs in a year. So,
Yeah.
how exactly do you recharge and keep that energy going?
Well, so I will hit 100 shows. I haven't done 100 already. That would be kind of insane.
It's
But
possible.
it is possible. I
With
know.
corporate gigs, maybe you had one at 1 p.m. and one at 8 p.m.
Right. I did play 5 sets at Burning Man too, so I'm counting all of those too.
You should.
Yeah. Um, well, I definitely have changed up my lifestyle habits quite a bit. I've been touring for 8 years probably, and I realized that the lifestyle I was living on the road and at home was not necessarily sustainable. It's easy to get sucked into the party world and where everything is at your disposal, and there's always an after party. There's always a third after party. There's even a fourth one sometimes. But you have to say no and realize that your energy is precious, especially when you're touring,
Mhm.
um, and having a balance and taking care of your body and your mind while you're on the road and meeting people. And it can be socially draining too. People want a lot of your energy and your time. And so yeah, I realized that I was wearing myself out in a lot of different ways. And practicing yoga is a huge thing for me. It definitely keeps me sane
Mhm.
and healthy. Um, and just, yeah, learning when to say no and not going to even the first after party because I have 4 days ahead of me. So
Right.
having a nice home balance, something that I can come home to and I can feel like I can recharge, even if I'm home for 3 days. Like my house is my sanctuary,
Mhm.
and yeah, time management, being organized, taking care of my body and my mind, and realizing when I need to recharge and not feeling bad about it. Just
A
really,
lot of hard touring artists I know who scale back or give up the partying, they have to replace it with something on the road, whether it's walking or jogging 8 miles a day or finding the coffee spot. Did
yeah.
you easily find your replacement activities on the road, or is it all sleep?
It's sleep for sure. I love my sleep. So yeah, that's kind of it. I haven't quite figured out the like how do I bring my exercise routine onto the road yet, because that's just a hard one. A lot of times, sleep is a priority. It's like I have this couple extra hour window, and what do I do with that? But that's kind of next on my list, is if I could at least do like 30 minutes of yoga a day or something, I think it would really be useful.
The free advice is you put something in your rider that
Yeah.
goes to the lifestyle. So that way they have to provide it and they have to put it into the schedule. But hey, you do
Yeah.
what Maddy does.
Well, once my budget gets a little bigger, maybe I'll like have someone come and lead a meditation or something, like that would be really cool.
If
Um,
your opening act were a meditation person and the promoter had to
oh,
pay them, well, there you
yeah.
go.
Now
So
we're talking double dip.
exactly. And the promoter has to pay their per diems. But anyway,
Right.
you released an album, or rather an EP last month, Mind Over Matter. When did you actually record it?
Um, I started that at the beginning of this year, like when it
Mhm.
was still winter time. I remember writing it, thinking about ahead to my festival season, and like it's definitely a record that was made for a dance floor,
Mhm.
versus my last record, which was, some of those songs will never see a stage. I just wanted to write. But I was thinking ahead to all of these big festivals I had this summer, and I really wanted to write songs that I could see myself playing on stage. So I started that before festival season started, and most of them were finished by the time I did that. So I was able to tease them over the summer and try them out before they were finished too. So yeah, I'm happy that it's out.
These days, DJ, the term DJ is just very interchangeable. It's you don't know what a DJ is. And by that I mean it used to be just the person at the turntables, the person just leading the party. And nowadays sometimes the DJ is just the producer, sometimes the DJ is the featured artist on the track, etc. Now, when you started out, was the plan eventually to be as diversified as you are now?
Um, so I started as a producer. Um, I'm a producer first and foremost, and
Mhm.
DJ second. Because when I first started making music, I was just hearing all of these influences of mine, and I was like very curious. I was like, I need to figure out how to make that, like, just for my own brain. And then it wasn't until later that I really started DJing and like focusing on the live aspect. That was my first interest. I do DJ with Ableton when I'm playing my own songs, and then I also do like DJ sets, like I'm doing the Madhouse thing where I DJ house music. So that actually kind of happened over the pandemic when I was doing a lot of live streams,
Mhm.
and I was like, well, I don't know how many people are going to be watching every single live stream that I do. And my catalog is only so big. So if I'm planning on playing most of my own music, like I do in a regular, like Maddy setting,
Mhm.
I felt like it was just going to get old if I'm playing. It's like touring the same city over and over again, you know. So I got really curious. I fell in love with house music and I got really curious. I bought CDJs with my PPP loan, and I was like, okay, I also want to become a really good DJ on decks, you know, because what I do is still DJing, but it's just
Mhm.
it's with a laptop. So yeah, I've been having a blast doing both. It's kind of just happened naturally, the progression and being more open-minded and falling in love with different genres of music. And I'm glad that I have the freedom to be as diverse as I am. I
Right.
was I wasn't really sure how I was going to brand the DJ, the house stuff. I was like, I don't want people that just discover me playing a house set to think that that's the only thing that I do. So I think it was cool that we found the Madhouse kind of umbrella so that I can do that and do what I do at the same time, which is cool.
Good points there. I mean, as you just pointed out, you have different kinds of sets and performances that you can do. At the same
Yeah.
time, what you're going to do at Area 15 in Vegas is not what you're going to do in an outdoor festival. It's not what you're going to do at the after hours club or the private gig. So it
Yeah.
sounds like you have three to five different sets you can do stylistically, and then like three to five different gig settings. So if you look at it that way, every gig potentially could be very different from the last.
Yeah. I mean, the way that I look at it is like my Maddie set is like very like you said, Vegas and festivals are kind of like a similar thing. I focus a lot on my own catalog, and I have two drum pads and I use Ableton.
Mhm.
And then there's the DJ aspect. And a lot of times it's house. Sometimes I'll DJ whatever the fuck else. So in my eyes, it's more like two different lanes, but
Mhm.
I also have done a live band before too. So I guess there is other dimensions, but I haven't done that in a while. So that's just kind of like taking my own songs and expanding them.
So as we
But
talked about at the beginning of the conversation, though, it'll be ultimately over 100 gigs this year. There's the new
yep.
EP, etc. Does that make you go 2024? Let's slow down, or have you already started planning and you know that you're going to be on the road a ton?
Uh I'm ready to keep it going at light speed. I feel great. I feel like things are resonating with people in a way that I haven't felt my whole career, which is really, really cool. And I feel inspired and motivated. And like I said, you know, when I was playing 50 shows a year and I didn't feel this way, I might have wanted to slow down. But the only part of slowing down that I need is building in some more studio time for
Mhm.
myself, because it's really hard to make music while I'm touring.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a bunch of drafts. There's a ton of drafts sitting on my laptop, but finishing something is a different story. So I am going to take a little bit of a break at the beginning of 2024, probably January, to finish a bunch of music. But yeah, I don't see a slowing down in my future, nor do I want it necessarily.
You also mentioned that yoga has become one of your go-to ways to decompress from all that. But what's the number two hobby or passion outside of music?
I'm a big snowboarder. I live in Denver, and that was part of the reason why I ended up in Colorado, other than going to see Boulder. It was actually kind of what led me to music, was a lot of like the snowboard community overlapped with the music community, and a lot of the DJs that I met were like pro skiers, snowboarders.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to get out in nature in the winter. Um, and I always do a Colorado mountain tour in the winter too, which is fun. So I hit like all of the ski towns in Colorado.
Mhm.
It's fun. But yeah, I love popping in my headphones and just like zenning out on a mountain. That's like my go-to thing.
I'm also finding that DJs these days are the most entrepreneurial of all the music-related performers out there. They always have spirits and restaurant partnerships and all that. Do you have any of that going on, or is that part of the game plan?
I don't necessarily right now, but my gears are always turning. That is very true about DJs.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, Dead Mouse's canned cocktail is one of the best canned cocktails I've had, period. It's called Cocoa Vodka, and Steve
oh,
Aoki
really?
has that hall in, is it Resorts World in Vegas? So it's just
Yeah,
not shocking when you see a great business run by a DJ.
totally. That is definitely part of my long-term plan, is to do something like that. I'm very into like fashion and clothing, and I do have like my merch, but like taking that to another level, I think is something that I'm very interested in. I have done like brand partnerships with other companies that I'm, you know, wanting to collaborate with. Um, but yeah, that's always on the horizon. Again, once you get your capital up and have the means to diversify your bonds.
Was that a half-baked reference? I'm trying to think of where that one was. Was that
uh,
Bang Financial from Chappelle Show that you just did?
I think it is Chappelle. Yeah.
Well, then we've learned that Maddie O'Neill has great taste in comedy as well. Well, two
Yeah.
questions, and then I'll let you go. And the first one is, yes, you're on the road incessantly, but
Mhm.
what's the last concert that you went to for fun? You know, that you didn't have to spin at, that you didn't have to go to for political reasons, that you went, I want to see this artist live.
Uh, well, Pretty Lights, but I was doing an after party, but I actually blocked off my schedule for his return in August. So I wasn't doing any after parties then, and I just went to all 3 nights back to back. And that was really cool because that was kind of the family and the sector of the music world that I feel like raised me a little bit.
Mhm.
And he was gone for 6 or 7 years. So to be there for the actual first nights of the return, it was really cool.
And the last question is, what was the artist that was the gateway to you going, I want to make music, not just listen to music and have radio on in the background kind of stuff, but go, I want to create, this is my industry, etc. And I'll admit, I didn't have the greatest taste at the beginning, but so I'll call out mine if I need be, but
Yeah.
what was yours?
Um, I don't think there was necessarily one person. It was like the point, the period of time that I moved from St. Louis to Colorado. I lived in Boulder, and there was a lot happening in the electronic music scene, which
Hmm?
I hadn't really dove into ever. Like I was not like a little raver kid. I didn't do all that. So like this so this was like my intro. I was just like, whoa, what is happening? And at the time it was like definitely Pretty Lights and Grizz and Big Gigantic and STS9,
Hmm.
and a lot of other local acts that like were Colorado based that I was watching kind of like blow up right before my eyes.
Right.
So that was like the connection that I made to a lot of the other stuff that I was listening to, like very hip hop sample based electronic artists like DJ Shadow,
Mhm.
RGB2, and a lot of those people. So it was like taking those influences and then connecting them with the electronic world. Like, oh my God, there's so much possibility. So it was kind of like that combination of influences and discoveries that made me want to get Ableton and start going to record stores and sampling and diving down a YouTube rabbit hole. And
That
here we
made
are.
you the bass queen, as the press
Yeah.
release calls it,
Yeah.
right? Is that an awful term, or is that an okay term when they say
I
bass queen?
I think it's a compliment.
I think so too.
Yeah, totally.
Well, bottom line is this: keep up the excellent success that you got going. You don't have a lot of New York on your touring schedule, so let's change that so I can
Yeah.
finally see you live, and just keep up all the greatness out there. Looking forward to what's to come from you in 2024, Maddie.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Paltrocast.